My Dream of Heaven, Chapter 6, Part 1. She is not dead, the child of our affection, but gone unto that school where she no longer needs our poor protection, and Christ himself doth rule. Day after day we think what she is doing in those bright realms of air, year after year her tender steps pursuing. Behold her grown more fair. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Hark! 'Tis the voice of angels borne in a song to me, over the fields of glory, over the jasper sea. W. H. Donne. As time passed and I grew more accustomed to the heavenly life around me, I found its loveliness unfolded to me like the slow opening of a rare flower. Delightful surprises met me at every turn. Now a dear friend from whom I had parted years ago in the earth life would come unexpectedly upon me with cordial greetings. Now one, perhaps on earth, greatly admired, but from whom I had held aloof from the fear of unwelcome intrusion, would approach me, showing the lovely soul so full of responsive kindness and congenial thought, that I could but feel a pang of regret for what I had lost. Then the clear revelation of some truth only partly understood in life, though eagerly sought for, would stand out dear and strong before me, overwhelming me with its luster, and perhaps showing the close tie linking the earth life with the divine. But the most wonderful to me was the occasional meeting with someone whom I had never hoped to meet over there, who, with eager hand clasp and tearful eyes, would pour forth his earnest thanks for some helpful word, some solemn warning, or even some stern rebuke that had turned him, all unknown to myself, from the path of sin into the life everlasting. Oh, the joy to me of such a revelation! Oh, the regret that my earth life had not been more full of such work for eternity! My first impulse daily, on arising from happy, blissful rest, was to hasten to the river of life, and plunge into its wonderful waters, so refreshing, so invigorating, so inspiring. With a heart full of thanksgiving and lips full of joyful praise, morning after morning, sometimes in company with my brother, sometimes alone, I hastened there, returning always full of new life and hope and purpose to our home, where for a time each day I listened to the entrancing revelations and instructions of my brother. One morning, soon after my return from my first visit to earth, as I was on the way to the river, my voice joined to the wonderful anthem of praise everywhere sounding. I saw a lovely young girl approaching me swiftly with outstretched arms. "Dear, dear Aunt Bertha," she called as she drew near, "do you not know me?" "My little May," I cried, gathering the dainty creature into my arms, "where did you spring from so suddenly, dear? Let me look at you again," holding her a moment at arm's length, only to draw her again tenderly to me. "You have grown very beautiful, my child. I may say this to you here without fear, I am sure. You were always lovely. You are simply radiant now. Is it this divine life?" "Yes," she said modestly and sweetly, "but most of all, the being near the Savior so much." "Ah, yes, that is it, the being near Him. That will make any being radiant and beautiful," I said. "He's so good to me, so generous, so tender. He seems to forget how little I have done to deserve his care. He knows you love him, dear heart. That means everything to him." "Love him? Oh, if loving him deserves reward, I am sure I ought to have every wish of my heart. For I love him 1,000-fold better than anything in earth or heaven. I would die for him." The sweet face grew surpassingly radiant and beautiful as she talked, and and I began to dimly understand the wonderful power of Christ among the redeemed in heaven. This dear child, so lovely in all mortal graces, so full of earth's keenest enjoyments during the whole of her brief life, pure and good, as we count goodness below, yet seemingly too absorbed in life's gaieties to think deeply of the things that she yet in her heart revered and honored, now in this blessed life counted the privilege of loving Christ, of being near him beyond every other joy. And how that love refined and beautified the giver, as a great earthly love always shines through the face and elevates the whole character of the one who loves, so this divine love uplifts and glorifies the giver until not only the face, but the entire person radiates the glory that fills the heart. "Come with me to the river, May," I said presently, after we had talked together for some time. "Come with me for a delightful plunge." "Gladly," she said. "But have you ever been to the lake or the sea?" "The lake or the sea?" I echoed. "No, indeed. Are there a lake and sea here?" "Certainly there are," said May, with a little pardonable pride that she should know more of the heavenly surroundings than I. "Shall we go to the lake today and leave the sea for another day? Which shall it be?" "Let it be the lake today," I said. So turning in an entirely different direction from the path that led to the river, we walked joyously on, still talking as we went. So much to ask, so much to recall, so much to look forward to with joy. Once she turned to me and asked quickly, "When is my Uncle Will coming?" My hand closed tightly over hers, and a sob almost rose in my throat, though I answered calmly, "That is in God's hands alone. We may not question. Yes, I know, his will is always right. But I so long to see my dear uncle again, and to long is not to repine." She had grown so womanly, so wise, this child of tender years, since we parted, that it was a joy to talk with her. I told her of my sad errand to earth, and the sorrow of the dear ones I had left. "Yes, yes, I know it all," she whispered, with her soft arms about me. "But it will not be long to wait. They will come soon. It never seems long to wait for anything here. There's always so much to keep one busy, so many pleasant duties, so many joys. Oh, it will not be long." Thus she cheered and comforted me as we walked through the ever-varying and always perfect landscape. At length she cried, lifting her arm and pointing with her rosy finger, "Behold! Is it not divinely beautiful?" I caught my breath, then stopped abruptly and covered my face with my hands to shield my eyes from the glorified scene. No wonder my brother had not sooner brought me to this place. I was scarcely yet spiritually strong enough to look upon it. When I again slowly lifted my head, May was standing like one entranced. The golden morning light rested upon her face, and mingling with the radiance that had birth within, almost transfigured her. Even she, so long an inhabitant here, had not yet grown accustomed to its glory. "Look, darling aunt, it is God's will that you should see," she softly whispered, not once turning her eyes away from the scene before her. "He let me be the one to show you the glory of this place." I turned and looked like one but half awakened. Before us spread a lake as smooth as glass, but flooded with a golden glory caught from the heavens that made it like a sea of molten gold. The blossom and fruit-bearing trees grew down to its very border in many places, and far, far away across its shining waters arose the domes and spires of what seemed to be a mighty city. Many people were resting upon its flowery banks, and on the surface of the water were boats of wonderful structure, filled with happy souls, and propelled by an unseen power. Little children, as well as grown people, were floating upon or swimming in the water. And as we looked, a band of singing cherubs, floating high overhead, drifted across the lake, their baby voices borne to us where we stood, in notes of joyful praise.